Hello, this is Qyalms visiting again from the Grim Wayside, and today I am very excited to present to you the Nyssa Bizarre Nightmare Series. I pre-ordered this several months ago from Kikagoods. When I pre-ordered, I chose the full set option, which is the core set of 6 dolls, as well as the hidden doll. And when you pre-ordered that group, it came with a special recolor of the nun character, and then finally, I also chose to purchase the Black Goat Brett limited figure. This is a aesthetic that I'm really excited about collecting, so I put on my vampire nails. Please like and subscribe and share this video, and any comments would be great. Let's get into the series. All right, so let's get started. This is the set of 6 main dolls in the Nyssa Bizarre Nightmare series. These are the blind boxes, so we don't know what we'll be getting when we open them individually, but we should not have any repeated dolls. It's possible that we get a repeat with the hidden doll, which would be quite ironic. I did purchase when I pre-ordered these the full set of 6 and the additional hidden doll, as well as the package set came with a special color doll. It's a recolor of the nun that comes in this set. So hopefully we'll be seeing 6 individual dolls. But this is the main collection box that those 6 initial dolls come in. Has a really cute illustration on the front. I won't be keeping this box just because it's so bulky. It will be going to the land of my garage very quickly. But it does show the Lolita character and the little bunny character on the front. Each side, which is going to be a little difficult to show. There we go. Each side does show some of the dolls that are in here. So these are 2 of the regular dolls. This one is the hidden doll. This is what the back of the collection dolls looks like. It has some QR codes, and then it has some basic information about what the toys are made of. And then on the other side, it shows the remaining 4 dolls that are in the main series. And the recolor of the dolls is going to be this one right here, this little nun. We also have a recolor of her. Okay. We have 6 dolls, and we'll just unpack them to the side. We certainly do get that fresh vinyl smell that comes with all of these dolls. Okay, so let's open our first box. This is what the individual blind box looks like. It has a picture of the very cute rabbit on the front. It has a picture of the main 6 characters on the side, as well as the hidden doll. She's a 1 in 72 chance. The back of the box with its little authenticity hologram, and then similar information about what the dolls are made of and its QR codes for the company. And the side of this box repeats a lot of the same information about what the toys are made of and who they come from. That's a repeat of what was on the big box. Okay, so it looks like for the first doll, we have pulled the Lolita. Her name on the website is spelled Loli, Luoli, but I'm sure that's probably just a shortening of the word Lolita. And her character is called Loli, the Disturbed Lolita. Whoops. Oh, oh, I see. Her eyeball just flew out of her her packaging. Um, so we have her costume right here. We have her character card. Her character card has her name in Chinese. And then on the back, it just has the QR code that all of the dolls share. So she's Lolita with a lot of medical. She has a knife, so it gives her sort of a yandere um, character to her, but also she has some elements like with the eye patch of Menhara Lolita, which is, it's the word comes from mental health, but it's any type of sort of dark medical Lolita style. She comes with a little brochure that comes with every doll. It shows the restringing in case you ever need to, if you lose one of your elastics inside the doll, or if she gets pretty loose, you can always restring her. It describes the how the head is constructed inside. There is a plate inside the head that keeps her eye chips in place. Her eye chips sit in a little socket. They don't move around. You can't actually position them looking to one side or the other. They will always face forward. But they are two individual eye chips, so you could mix and match if you have more than one character, but you can't actually position them so that they're looking. I would say these dolls don't have, or these eyes don't have a particular following quality. They're pretty shallow. The second picture here is the way that the rest of the head is constructed. And this doll, unlike a lot of the other 1/12 size dolls, the hands actually pop off of a little peg. The hands themselves and a lot of the pieces of the doll are kind of rubbery, and that rubbery texture provides enough resistance so that the hands just don't instantly fall off. Probably, if you were changing the hands very frequently, they might become loose. But in this case, they seem to pop on and off pretty cleanly. And so it just describes how the little peg, and it's very useful when you're changing their clothes to be able to just pop off their hands and not have to um, be really careful of that S hook that's inside of the wrist joints. And then the back, it shows the a cartoon of the hidden character and has another QR code and a lot of text in Chinese. I can't actually read Chinese, so that would have to be a Google Translate. So let's take the doll out herself. She comes with three sets of hands. She's wearing her sort of graceful flat hands. And again, they're more rubbery than would expect from other 112 size dolls. She also has a pair of heart hands. Very cute. And one thing I noticed about these dolls is that they have really distinctive blushing on their fingers. So the painting on the fingers is very dark. It fits with the aesthetic, so it's not an issue, but all of her hands do have the same blushing. These are her mostly closed fist hands, but they do appear to be grabby hands, like you could put an accessory or something in there. I'm curious as to whether the other dolls come with accessories. This particular doll does not appear to have one. She doesn't have like the knife that appears in her character card. But I think there is a character that comes with a candelabra, or at least I've seen her with a candelabra, and so I'm going to be curious if that accessory actually comes with her. She has a unique piece of packaging here because the eye chip that is behind, I'm going to assume, the eye chip that would go behind her eye patch here is actually in her blister packaging, which is kind of cool. It gives you that option of using an eye patch or not. And then she has a pair of cute Mary Janes. So the little Mary Janes have sort of a thick platform heel on them with in a tan color. The upper part is black, and then they have little silver white buckles on them. Okay, popping open her costume. Okay, so she has a little pair of underwear. She has 2 little socks. The socks are white, but they have a sort of a pink ruffle around the top, and normally this kind of fabric is a little bit elasticy. The top of the ruffle from the inside where it's hemmed is actually sticking out. I'll have to check and maybe I'll put a little dot of super glue on those to keep them from fraying and then cut off this little extra bit that's sticking out. That's just from the hem inside. She comes with a very cute little Lolita hairband. I really think this color is pretty. It's sort of a dusty pink satin ribbon that goes all the way around. It doesn't look like the ends, this end, you can tell that they've burned it or melted it, so it doesn't look like they're going to fray. The one side of the ruffle, it's a very stiff ruffle in sort of a tea stained color. It's whiter than the back ruffle, and yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to fray. The ends feel sealed or burnt in some way. And then her main dress, it's quite stiff. It's made of a thick, not quite satiny material. It has these red blood stains on there. They appear to be not screen printed, but more like sublimation printed onto the dress. So they are printed right into the fabric. And then there are these two cute, like asymmetrical pink bows. And I'm not sure if they're glued on or sewed on. We'll find out in a minute. There are 3 black buttons on the front of her dress that I believe they are glued on. The, ruffle here is sort of a dark brown, and then there's also the same similar color of ruffles on the wrists. And it is a cute two-part sleeve. The upper part of the sleeve is a separate puff, and then the lower part of the sleeve is just straight on her arm. Pulling her dress apart, it does have the Velcro, doll Velcro all the way up the back to make it easier to dress. Okay, and so looking inside real quick, it looks like the hem is turned up and glued down, but it is a pretty clean hem. Like you don't feel the glue or anything or see the glue on the outside of the dress. I guess it could be melted down just because of the way the fabric is finished. The bows appear to be sewed on, and it's not highly finished on the inside, but it doesn't look like it's going to unravel or anything. Like it doesn't need to be beautiful on the inside, as long as it's going to be sturdy on the inside. Looking at the doll herself, she has a very similar body to many of the other dolls that are in that, well, 1/12 size genre, like you would expect from the Bonnie dolls or the Onto Penny's box dolls. This is just a very similar shape to the others, but there are some differences. She has the same sort of peanut joints in the elbows, and she has a peanut joint in the knee. The peanut joint in the knee does have two little ridges in it to help with posability, and it is sort of a bigger bean shaped peanut joint than you see in some of the dolls. And the little channels in there um, are a little bit longer than some other dolls, which allows the elastic to really fit in that channel for posability. So her legs do lock straight on those little channels, and then the elastic will sit in the longer channels when you're trying to actually pose her. Her feet are not removable. They are flat feet with some light blushing on the toes. Her upper leg has this molded in detail of a little bow, and it's sort of an emblem or a um, it's a common element in all of the dolls from the Nyssa series. They'll all have this ribbon across the top, and then this ribbon appears in some of their other clothing items. Or I believe the rabbit has the similar ribbon on her chest. The ribbon is molded on, it is not painted, and it doesn't go all the way around the leg. It's open on the back. It sort of just trails off into little pointed streamers on the back. So the hips have a sort of an unusual shape joint um, for the elastic to sit in. It's not just like a straight channel, but it's kind of curved and has like a small ball opening at the bottom. She does have her legs will twist around this hip joint. It sits in a cup there. And there are some little protrusions, I think, that keep it straight most of the time. You have to add some minor force, not a lot of force, but a little bit of force to actually turn the leg on the inside. Um, the channels that are at the top of her leg do seem to really hold the elastic really well. So when I've looked at other dolls in this series, I noticed that like they sort of have the ability to click into their pose, which is kind of cool. She has the ability to sit really securely when she's sitting down. It's just a matter of whether or not the hair makes them back heavy. So, looking at her hair, speaking of, she has a very pale sort of it's a gray that borders on light brown or borders on almost a purple at the same time. There's not a lot of shading on it. It's all pretty much the same uniform color. Popping her head open because I want to take a look at what's going on behind the eye patch on her eye. Her makeup, let's see. So the eye patch doesn't seem to have any indication on the inside. You see the S hook that keeps the body together. But all I can see on the inside is the little plate that keeps the eyeballs in. And so when we pull her head off the front, we could see that her eyeballs stayed onto that plate. And inside, it's interesting. It looks like the most of the socket, it's a little hard to see, but most of the socket is filled with part of the eye patch. Let's see, maybe I can. Whoops. Um, so the eye patch popped out. It's a little piece of the same sort of rubbery material. Um, and it has a little shape of an eye that was keeping it in from the front. On the outside, that little eye patch, it has some molded details of a little cross and then a border, and then the red cross, the medical red cross on the outside. So looking at her makeup from the front, then, without her eyes in, she has some pretty distinct blushing on her ears in that same sort of purpley red color. She has very dark black eyelashes that fade to a really deep red at the corners. She also has lower lashes and two little gray eyebrows that match her hair. And the eye that has the eye patch, actually, which you don't see very much when the eye patch is actually in, has this sort of large bloody tear running down her face. So I'm going to put the eye patch back in because I think it makes her unique. Um, and I think maybe it just pops in. Okay, so that looks like the way it fits the best inside. Yeah, and they're sort of clicked in. Looks a little odd though, but it is molded to the exact shape of her face. So it looks like that is supposed to be the way it goes. And I'm going to see if I can put her head back on without moving her eye because I don't believe her eye's actually stuck to that particular piece. I think it just came out on that piece. Okay. We'll put her hair back on. Her hair has two little pigtails on the side. I don't think I mentioned that. Her hair is pretty simple. It's not a very complicated design. Actually, before I put her hair on, we might as well put her outfit on. She has quite curvy hips. And so this is going to be a bit of a challenge to get these very tiny underwear over her hips. Oh, that wasn't as bad as it's been in the past. Uh, I've opened previous dolls from this series. I opened Black Goat Brett, which will, although filmed first, will appear later in the series. And man, was that a struggle to get those on. So to put on her dress, I'm going to pop her hands off. The ball jointed part of her hand is on a S hook, just like any of the other 112 series dolls that are common. But it is extremely convenient to be able to take those hands off. Oh, what I thought was a blood stain on her sleeve is actually an X painted in, it looks like as if it were painted in blood. These sleeves are very narrow. There's no way you could put these on with the hands on. Having a little bit of trouble getting the peg through the arm to begin with. There we go. Okay, that was a pretty tight fit. There we go. I like her flat hands, so we're going to stick with flat hands. I'm not going to change those out. So the dress is a pretty tight fit. Not sure, I haven't janked up the arm a little bit. Trying to get it in. The joint seems to be fitting a little weird, and I might have to go back and fix that later. The arms do want to kind of stick out rather than pose. And that's partly to do with the stiffness of the dress, and partly because like I said, I think the joint's a little messed up. I was having to put quite a bit of pressure onto that peanut joint. Now I can't find it. Oh, goodness. So you can see that peanut joint turned. There we go. Okay. Got that joint back in place. Okay, so the Velcro is very tight. You do have to pull quite hard. There we go. Her arm will stay down now on that side. Well, let's talk about that experience. Um, so I noticed that the little design that was on her shoulder is actually an X, not a blood spatter like I had initially thought. Her little bib is actually not sewn down, but that's not really an issue, just something I noticed. Tying the ribbon behind in front of her was nigh on impossible, so I did just, get lazy and tie it behind her head. But I don't think that's a real problem. The main problem that I had dressing her was that trying to get her arms into these extremely tight sleeves meant that I janked up her elbows really bad. So I ended up having to take her back out of the sleeves to try and fix those little peanut joints. Otherwise, her arms simply were not posing, they were just flailing out to her sides, at least now that they're hanging down. Um, the little puff happens right at the, elbow joint, so it's a little difficult to manipulate within the sleeve. And then this Velcro right up against the upper part of her body was extremely tight. I had to really pull those edges together in order to get her, to stay in one piece. Oh, and her socks were extremely tight, but they did eventually go on and they go just above her ankle joints. And they do help keep her shoes on because they offer some amount of friction and bulk. Um, so, yeah, I would say the dressing experience was difficult, but I do really like her outfit. I think it's really cute. I definitely like the sort of distressed colors that she's in, and the eye patch is a really cool, unique individual detail. I do love that they included the other eye chip in the packaging, so if you wanted to take off the eye patch, you definitely could. So this is the Lolita doll, and she's very cute. I think I do like her. She's probably not going to be one of the dolls I play with very much or pose very much because those arms are a little stiff in the sleeves. But she will be a really cute display doll. Okay, let's move on to our next victim. We'll put her over on the side. And these are going to go into my big bag of parts. Okay, victim number 2. Okay, so this is the vampire character. On the website, she is called Des the Vampire Aristocrat. So we have her packet of clothing. We have that same brochure that comes with all the dolls. And then we have her character card. So the illustrations on these character cards are very cute. Open up the doll. Oops. Okay, so she has some different shoes than the other dolls, and that's one thing I noticed when I was purchasing them, that they did seem to have their shoes weren't just all recolors of the same style, but they did have a lot of individuality between the shoes. So these cute little ankle strap shoes, they have little thin soles, but they also have little vampire or bat wings on the straps on the top on each of the outside portions of the shoes, which I think is really cute detail for her. She's wearing her same flat hands that all the dolls are probably going to be having. She has her heart hands in the box, and then she has her grippy fists in the box. Going straight to her outfit. Okay, so she has 2 sleeves. They have sort of what looks like this, like, the top of a tomato, whatever you wanna call these little spiked scalloped pieces at the top in sort of a black, sort of leathery fabric. Um, it doesn't appear to be elasticy, it just appears to be some kind of faux leather. The sleeves themselves are made out of a white material that looks like it's stained, tea stained at the bottom. So it goes from a white to a brownish gold. And then it has little silver threads running through the fabric. The fabric is gathered. That's interesting. Do they both have that? Interesting. So the sleeves are two layered. So the arm actually goes into like this thinner, like sort of sleeve part. And then this larger part is actually sort of like what an overskirt would be. So there's like an inner layer and then this outer layer. And the one is blank, but the other one has these two little red X's on it. This is, I'm gonna guess, a choker, but I probably will have to look at the website to make sure it's not like an anklet or something. She has ruffled underwear, which is unique. The other two dolls that I've opened in previously have had plain underwear, but she has these cute little hip ruffles on the sides. And I think they're a little lower. They're more of a hip hugger than the brief style that the others had, or bikini style the others had. Her dress. So her dress has this sort of faux black leather on the skirt with these spikes that resemble the ones that are on the sleeves. The center of her dress is sort of like a corset out of that same fabric. It has a dark red X in the center. The little bra cups are of the white material that the sleeves are made out of, and they have sort of non stretchy faux leather straps. And then the skirt itself is two layers. The top layer is made of the same sort of ombre stained fabric that the sleeves are made out of, with a brownish or sort of tan ruffle that goes around the bottom. It is sewn into this little underskirt, and that closes off the seams very nicely. It looks very tidy around the hem of it, and that gives the skirt also this sort of puffed look, which is quite cute. And then the back has the elastic, or not elastic, the Velcro, the doll Velcro that runs all the way down the back to make it easier for her to dress. So, like I said, the inside around the lower skirt is very clean in its hem. The part around the inside looks a little messy, but hopefully, as long as it lays flat on the body, I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue. I guess the reason why she has the cuter underwear is because she has the much shorter dress. So, probably her underwear has a tendency to show. Be kind of cute if the underwear were also of that sort of tea stained material, but that's a lot to ask. So before we dress her up, we'll take a look at her body. So she has the same blushing on her hands and toes that all the rest do, but her blushing also is the exact same color as what's on her hair. So her hair is a pale whitey cream color. And then at the ends, they have airbrushed in all of the same red color that's on her fingertips and her toes. She has her hair gathered up into two twin tails with a little sort of puff at the top. She has really cute tendrils of hair around her face, and then these two painted on black hair clips. And then her little wings on top, she has two little black bat wings, which are super cute. I like that they incorporated the black hair clips with the black of the little wings. They are not removable. They're firmly attached to the front part of her hairpiece. Taking apart her head, it'll make it easier to get her dress on. So she has the most adorable little teeny tiny vampire fangs. Super little, very cute. I love these. Uh, Doll Fairyland. They make resin dolls, and they have the most adorable vampires. Shiwu, for example, they have the teeniest, tiniest little things. And then she has a blood drip coming off of one side of her mouth. She has the same eyelashes that all of the other dolls have had that we've opened up, with the black in the center and very thick. And then it fades to red with a little red underneath of her eyes. She has a little number 2 in, Roman numerals underneath of her eye. I'm not sure what that would mean exactly, but she does it is there, and it's a cute detail. I love these details. So while the other doll had green and she didn't have any reflections in her eyes, she has deep red eyes, and then she has a vertical sort of cat eye, the same shape as a cat's eye. The little glimmer in her eye is that sort of vertical line. And then she has little red, pinky eyebrows. Oh, and on her chest, she has a dark red pair of little bat wings. So, which is a cute detail, especially with sort of a low halter top. Let's get her dressed. You do not need to remove her hands to go through her dress straps. These seem very narrow to me, like they might be a bit of a struggle. You think I would learn my lesson to put on the underwear before the dress, but I just never learn. I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I didn't have my skewer. Absolutely a necessary accessory for dressing a doll. So, looking at her costume, the little black band was a leg garter. It's a little tricky to get on because of just the friction. It was very tight going over the calf, and it was a little hard to get it up here. But I did use my skewer to push the little seam part back in on the back. Her shoes, again, are still very cute. They went on really simply. Her top, um, shucks, like the straps are not the same length, and the one on the right-hand side is way longer than the one on the left. I don't think they're long enough to actually cross, so it's not I couldn't put maybe I could put this one over the neck and then it would be the correct size, but it would probably make the top bunch up a little weird. I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do to fix this. Um, Save cutting it and then sewing it in the back myself. The sleeves are very cute. Her hands are, like, way up inside the sleeves, um, which is fine. It's an aesthetic. But I would say also because the straps are so long, the bra cups fit a little weird on there, and you can't see the black ends of the little bra cups through or you see the black ends of the straps inside of the white gauzy fabric of the cups. Also, this right-hand cup is much bigger than the left-hand one. So there is sort of a uniformity fit issue going on there. And then I noticed that the skirt on this side pulls up way higher than the skirt on the other side. So yeah, the clothes, while super cute, I really love the design. There is some quality inconsistencies with the way that they actually work. So I'm gonna have to fiddle around with this so that it'll display properly. But I do think the face is super cute. The whole aesthetic with the tiny little ears, the little bat wings are very cute. And it fits just normally in the back. Again, like the other doll that we just dressed, the elastic is very tight, or the Velcro is very tight. You do have to pull pretty hard to get that to lay down. So that is our vampire dress. Okay, next victim. All right. We have the brochure that comes with every doll, the character card. So this is one of the more intriguing designs, in my opinion. She has these little candles on her head. Her name is Pothos on the website. Of course, her name is in Chinese here. I don't recognize the first character. I mean, I do, but I don't. Is that Story? I think that might be a character that's involved in stories and writing. And then the second one is the character for Dream. I'm gonna have to look that up because that's a sort of evocative name. But on the English site, her name is Porthos. Or sorry, Pothos. There's her outfit in the back. Okay. So, her little candles, interesting. Oh, very interesting. I love this doll. Huh, okay. So, color me shocked. Her candles stay on via magnets, and I love magnets. I love that this makes her really adaptable because you don't have to use the little candles on her head. She comes with the same heart hands that all the others do, the same grabby hands. Her shoes are these tall boots. They are still made of that same rubbery material that the other ones are made out of. They have a long slit in the back to allow you to put the shoes on. They are sort of a gray color with a darker gray ombre and then a gray band around the top. And then there's a painted on blood spatter on her leg. So slip those on. Actually, she probably has underwear in here. Yeah, she does. So I'm gonna wait to put those on. Oh, what a mistake I made. Okay, there we go. So this candle-headed doll, um, the mythology behind these is really interesting. Um, so I recognize it from Junji Ito. There's a character, I believe his name is Soichi. Um, yeah, probably Soichi, I think. But the candles are part of a ritual called what was it called? Ushi no Toki Mairi, which is like the visit to the shrine during the ox's hour. And it's a usually done by vengeful women, although the character you'll see a lot more of those characters being men like Soichi and the Junji Ito story. But it's basically a revenge curse, and they use a little voodoo doll and they like nail it to a tree, which is kind of ironic considering that these are dolls. The name Pothos, when I looked it up, it said that it was a Greek god of yearning. So it was like related to Eros, and it was related to like Aphrodite, which is a little different. And then there was a historical event in Japan called the Tsuyama Massacre, where someone killed a lot of people. He had tied, I believe it was flashlights to his head. So this whole look, this whole aesthetic that she has a very long history of occult ritual behind it. So I think it's really cool. I kind of wish that she had her little lantern that she has on her character card, but, that's super picky. I think it's really cool that her candles are magnetic. They are pretty well molded to her head, and they stay on pretty well. I mean, they do move a little bit, but they are if you're not whipping her around, then yeah, they seem to stay really well. The candles themselves, you can't see the magnets, they're embedded inside the plastic, but they are fully white where the wax part is, and then the flames are painted a shiny blue. Put this back up here. She has a lot of details on her face. She has the exact same body as all the others. She doesn't have anything on her body or torso that makes her unique. She has this really beautiful green color, sort of sage colored hair, which it has a slight ombre to like a darker color. It just adds a little depth to it. And these two little cute wisps of hair on the back of her neck. And then this one little bit that's up on top. But she actually has very tiny, and I don't know that you can actually see them on camera, but she has little tiny gold stars and dots that go all the way across her hair. So there's some on her pigtails and some across her bangs. And you can actually see them a little bit in her character card. There's like a sort of semicircle of stars and dots in that gold color. On her actual face, she has stars, red stars above her eyebrows. She has green eyebrows that match her hair. She has the same eyelashes that all the other dolls do, with the black in the center and the reds at the corner, and then a uh, little red bags under her eyes. And then under those, she has little black stars. And across her nose, she has a stitched up scar. So she has quite a lot of individuality when it comes to her face. And her eyes are two different eye chips. The one on the her right hand side is a green with a star reflection in the center. And then the one that's on her left hand side is sort of a gray color with just maybe a hint of green in it. And then a little like it's either a cross itself or it's like two little femur bones that are crossed, like you would see on like a pirate ship Jolly Roger flag. But it's cool that they use two different eye chips for her, and then all these little details through her hair because she definitely does have a dark ombre around her face, which is really pretty. So her hair has a lot of attention to detail and a lot of dimension. I really want to see what these magnets look like inside. Okay, so her magnets, there's two little circles inside of her hair. So it looks like the magnets are embedded inside of this, and then they put like a plug of plastic, this rubberized plastic over the top of it. So that's super cool. I think it's a great detail that they used magnets for this character. They were really thinking of every character as an individual character, and put a lot of like individual time and detail. I love the fact that they use different shoes. They're not all the same shoes, just recolored. So let's put her outfit on. So she has some sort of slightly misshapen underwear. The one side is way longer. The outfits are very individualized, but they do have some questionable quality control on them. She has this really cute Red Riding Hood. It has a sort of suede texture to it, and two seams that run down the sides where her shoulders go. It gives it a little shaping to it. And all the seams are hidden inside of the lining. The lining is this like satin. It's exactly the same color as the suede on the outside, but it is a slightly different texture. And then they have two yellow ribbons sewn into the seam right here, sort of a bright marigold color. And then she has a one-piece dress. It has it's made of sort of a almost white colored fabric, stiff, very like the fabric that they used on the Lolita doll. Um, so it's almost got like a satin feel to it, but it isn't quite as shiny. And then it fades to a gray, like an airbrushed gray. And then the sleeves have a puff to them, and they end in a little ruffle. And the same ruffle goes around the bottom of this dress. The dress on the front has the two puff sleeves. It does not have any sort of bib or peplum. It just has a oval neck opening. It has the overdress with the gray ruffle, and then is over sort of stiff black cotton underskirt. Okay. And there's nothing surprising about the inside of the dress. It's turned up and hemmed on the bottom. The seams are pretty big. I guess that maybe that gives it a little bit more volume in the underskirt. We're gonna pop our hands off. The ruffle has the slightest bit of elastic in it. back from the fast forward. Uh, I love this doll. This costume is great. I did notice that the ends of these two ribbons are fraying, so I'm gonna hit them with the lighter to melt them. This particular dress was much easier to put on than the other dress was, the other dress with the long sleeves. I love everything about this doll. She's super cute. I love how individualized all of her decorations are. I love her outfit, and I love the occult history behind this particular doll. So she's my favorite so far. Definitely going to probably put her on my desk so that I can look at her and play with her, while I'm working. You know, not while I'm working, but while I'm working. Thank you for joining me for the Nyssa Bizarre Nightmare series. Please like the video and leave a comment if you love dolls as much as I do. Let me know what your favorites are. We love feedback. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. Watch out for the other Nyssa dolls, as well as Sugary Girls, Kiseki Vintage Treasures, Lulu Elf Story, Four Moon, Koo's Devil Horns, and Mystic Realms Pilgrimage. We look forward to sharing our future videos with you.